Robot Wars and a heat with one of the more interesting looking lineups I've seen. This should be good to see. So let's jump to the battleboard and see who's fighting who. Once again, looking to be a very interesting heat as 23rd seed Tsunami from Germany enters against the two newcomers Glasseye, looking like a Hypnodisc knockoff, and the flipping arm of Fulcrum. Rusty, who we last saw back in Series 1, have come back to take on the two newcomers X Marks the Spot, who we saw back in Battle of the YouTubers, and the Chinese machine Jade Emperor. But first up, our 7th seed Endgame, two-time champion of BattleBots from New Zealand, against the two newcomers Gothic Infrastructure and the while new, definitely battle experienced Sawblaze. Now, let chaos begin! Endgame Spinner! They've rebuilt their machine since the last wars to be more dangerous and effective in combat. The wedge is still as effective as last time, and the blade is still the same, meaning that the damage will be plentiful, which we saw in the fight against Chaos 2 in the Vengeance Special last wars. But the self-righting mechanism is still a weak spot for them, as it's not that reliable. Gothic Infrastructure Lifter. Built to resemble a dark church in a graveyard with two obelisk-shaped lifting spikes which also have the power to right them back onto their wheels. The machine's armor is also fairly durable, meaning it'll take the spinning attacks with no trouble at all, but the sides and rear are vulnerable for attack, and the weapon can also cause them issues. That sounds less like an issue and more like a design flaw. Sawblaze Spinner. A BattleBots contestant with a very strong track record and a reigning champion. The front forks on the wedge make it easier to slide underneath the opposition for the swinging Sawblade to come down and do the damage, which can also help the machine self-right. The machine has also been able to climb back into the arena on BattleMods. No such luck in our arena though. And as proven against other spinners, the wheels are severely exposed.
Roboteers, stand by.
Endgame with the lethal spinning blade and the very strong drive rebuilt for this series. I wonder how well that'll do. Gothic Infrastructure with the lifting obelisk spikes. And Sawblaze with the dropping circular saw blade. And them and Endgame actually have history.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
They fought before in BattleBots, and their fights ended in literal seconds, and now Sawblaze making up for that by dropping their blade on top of Endgame, who cannot escape. Gothic Infrastructure now coming in to get involved, and I don't know if that was successful or not, but, well, Gothic Infrastructure definitely in the battle, and now Endgame, off comes the wheel! The wheel's gone from Sawblaze! It's always an Achilles heel for machines like Sawblaze, the exposed wheels. I don't know why people machines keep entering like that, but they do, and now Sawblaze is, hey! Well, up into the air goes Gothic Infrastructure, as does Endgame, and now the blade can come down. Endgame's right, was that from Gothic Infrastructure? I'm not sure. Actually, fun thing about Gothic Infrastructure, it's got the same technique as Sawblaze. They can bring themselves back into the fight if thrown out the arena. We won't be able to see Sawblaze really do it this time. Definitely not now. Off comes the other wheel, and Gothic Infrastructure up and over. And now, oh, nearly out the arena, Gothic Infrastructure. But that's worse! Completely destroyed and ripped apart! They're on fire too! Well, I don't think Endgame ever pulled that off in the last wars. Or the wars before that. They caused fire, yes, but not to that extent. And now, to do the same to Sawblaze, and they have done. And why is the camera? You can see it, right? The camera's just shaking like that. There's fire now on Sawblaze. Well, look at this. Let's have a look at this again. There, ripped apart the underbelly of Gothic Infrastructure. That was them destroyed. And then they come in and do the same thing to Sawblaze. Is this the same endgame we had the last two wars? I have no idea. Endgame throws Gothic infrastructure down in the pit and out. And what's going on with the camera? Oh, seriously, why is the camera acting like that? Has one of the pieces gotten lodged in the camera and it's messing with it? I'm wondering, why is the camera rocketing and shaking like this? Why is it doing this? I honestly have no idea. Endgame's stuck on the edge of the pit. They can't really get away from them. Sawblaze, they're dead now. And now Endgame falls into the pit with Sawblaze. Cease called, rightfully. Honestly, why is the camera shaking the way it is? It is shaking so violently. But, yeah, so Gothic infrastructure definitely into the Bronze Rumble, and I'm being told that Sawblaze immobilized. They're into the Silver. Well done to Endgame. Endgame, you've improved a lot. What are you this series? Seriously, what are you? Well, whatever you are, it's brutally lethal as they go through to the Gold Rumble. Gothic infrastructure into the Silver, Sawblaze into the Bronze. Next up, Rusty, X marks the spot, and Jade Emperor. Rusty, X spot. Dave Eaton's back with Rusty, looking new and even improved from the first wars. The tracks are now hidden inside the machine to prevent spinners from sniping them off, and the overall design almost works like a barrel to roll back over into the fight if flipped. And even if that doesn't happen, the new axe will quickly correct it. Rusty definitely looks sleeker in design this time around, but the overall pushing power of the machine is questionable. X marks the spot. Flipper. A very strange and wide machine with an extremely weird flipper. In fact, it doesn't even work like any flipper I've ever seen before. The X is actually on a panel that will fire and toss the machine into the air. Yes, the flipper is an actual panel. The wedge also has a 0-degree ground clearance, which also provides a very strong drive, and yes, the machine can right itself if flipped over. But the exposed wheels are an issue, and the width of the machine could also prove to be a problem. Jade Emperor! Spinner! The scales covering the front and top of the machine are designed to add extra strength to the armor, making it harder to cut into. The front spinning blade is also the key weapon, which cuts through at the front of the wedge, which makes getting underneath machines easier, but the exposed wheels are very vulnerable, and for some reason the machine can't run upside down.
Robot ears, stand by.
Great to see Rusty back from the first wars, new and improved, with the big spiked axe. X marks the spot, newcomers with the interesting flipper. Actually, I've seen this machine in Battle of the YouTubers, so got a fair idea of what this machine can do. And Jade Emperor with the spinning blade.
2,
And is actually the smallest machine out of all the machines in this fight. Probably in this entire heat. And now, hey! Up goes Rusty. So that spinning blade of Jade Emperor is quite effective, and I think it's actually crippled. Whoa! Well, Jade Emperor nearly went out the arena there, but look at Rusty. There's a problem with the drive. I think it's lost 2 wheels. X marks the spot. You've thrown yourself up and over, and you've lost the wheel. And now you're self-righted onto the angle grinder, and you're stuck. Great. Look at this. There's the self-right, and oops, they've bounced off the angle grinder, and are now in a position where they can't self-right. And have been counted out. And Jade Emperor, very happy with that arrangement. Rusty, can Rusty get out of there? Well, they're trying to, I think they're trying to somehow get back. They've got better maneuverability going backwards. And now helps get X marks the spot back on their, well, I say wheels. At least able to self-right again. And Jade Emperor once again coming in to further cripple X marks the spot. Now, technically, you'd think Rusty would be deemed immobilized, but there is still a level of movement about them. They can still go outside their circumference. The flipper's gone. X marks the spot. They've lost their weapon. They cannot flip. If they get flipped up and over again, they will not be able to right themselves. Jade Emperor, a very strong machine, it has to be said. X marks the spot. Now, properly back on the wheel, so now they can use their front wedge. And hey, that's actually well done, Dave, using the axe to help drive in a straight line. That's ingenious. And now there's no movement from Rusty. Has that come too soon? Jade Emperor up and over and being pushed towards the wall. I don't think Jade Emperor will be able to move anywhere. I think Jade Emperor is immobilized at this point. Not like it matters. Oh, they've come back onto the wheels and lift up and over again. You can see there, X marks the spot. One of the wheels is gone. And is there anything... well, I don't think it matters it really, if there's anything Jade Emperor could do, because X marks the spot, counted out and immobilized. They're into the bronze rumble, meaning Rusty just goes into the silver. Jade Emperor through to the gold. X marks the spot, spinning in the light. They may be the only bot still standing and moving, so at least they finished the stronger of the three. Credit where credit is due for X marks the spot. They finished the stronger, and they are happy with that, and kudos to them, but sadly, you're in the bronze. Jade Emperor, they're in the gold. And there, confirmation, X marks the spot into the bronze with Jade Emperor into the gold, Rusty into the silver rumble. Next up, Tsunami, Glass Eye, and Fulcrum. Tsunami, Flipper. They were the runners-up in the Last Wars and crashed out in destructive fashion to Peach and to Death or Glory, but they did finish third in the All-Stars. The Flipper is still as strong as it was in the Last Wars, as is the Drive. There's also still a limited gas supply, and now we know that the armor isn't as strong as first suspected. Glass Eye! Spinner! Doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to figure out who inspired this build. However, the team claims that this machine is deadlier. We'll see about that. The spinning eye flywheel is very dangerous, and the machine is pretty quick. However, unlike Hypnodisc, there's no Shremek. Fulcrum! Flipper! They took some inspiration for their machine from Buzzy Bee in the Last Wars, making their machine seesaw-shaped, but armed with a high-powered front-hinge flipping arm. The team also seems to claim that their machine is champion material. But their wheels are exposed and their design offers a serious ground clearance issue at the rear.
Roboteers, stand by.
Tsunami, the 23rd Seeds, with the CO2-powered flipper. Glass Eye, the Hypnodisc lookalike, with the eyeball flywheel. Looks pretty cool, by the way. And the seesaw design of Fulcrum with the CO2-powered front-hinged flipper.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Whoa, right from the start, Fulcrum's already thrown themselves up and over. That's very, very poor and bad. And can they get their arm back down, I wonder? Well, Glass Eye carves into the back of Tsunami and continues to do so. Fulcrum righted. And off comes the top panel of the flipper of Tsunami. And the flipper of Glass Eye, it has to be said, is pretty tough. They're up and over. Fulcrum righted, but not doing much in terms of driving. Tsunami underneath. They're not flipping, probably waiting for the right moment. Glass Eye up and over, and have been left there and have been counted out as immobilized. And Fulcrum, now they're stationary in the center of the wall, the floor. I'm not sure if they are okay. A piece has come off of the flipper again of Tsunami. That flywheel, you know, of Glass Eye, it is actually pretty lethal. They've already been counted out as immobilized. Fulcrum will be going through to the Silver Rumble. The Glass Eye going into the bronze. At least I'm convinced that's what's going to be happening. Can Tsunami do anything to deal with Fulcrum? I wonder. They should be able to. What's interesting is Tsunami isn't using their flipper. They can easily get underneath and use it, but they're not. Is there something wrong now with the flipper? Nope, the flipper's fine. I think they're just trying to find a good angle. And have done. Get off the flames. And now, Tsunami to throw Fulcrum into the air. And I think to hoist Fulcrum up and out the arena. We know Tsunami has the power to do so. They've mistimed that flip. And now Fulcrum being counted out and have been thrown out by Tsunami. So Fulcrum well and truly gone now, and it's Tsunami going through to the Gold Rumble as they come in to deal with Glass Eye. Is there a way? And almost had them flung at the arena. Something else has come off of Tsunami as well here. Is Fulcrum, Glass Eye okay? No, they're up and over apparently. Now I've been righted. Tsunami flipping him again. And Tsunami, truth be told, they're not going to be able to keep that up. There is a limited gas supply at the flipper. And that flywheel of Glass Eye, it has to be said, it's quite effective, it's quite dangerous. So their boast about it being deadlier than Hypnodisc actually probably might be true. Tsunami, something else has come off. Underneath Glass Eye again. Desperately trying to throw them out. I don't think they'll be able to though. Especially with the amount of times they've used that CO2 flipper and with how low it is starting to get. The more they use it, the less power the flipper has. They have enough power to throw them up and over, but not enough to throw Glass Eye up and over and out the arena. And to be honest, I think the flywheel is causing problems. Almost had them there! They almost had them out of the arena. And has Tsunami now given up, I wonder? It's what I'm gathering. I think Tsunami's gone, yeah, forget this, let's just throw them into the pit, which Glass Eye has unleashed. And now Tsunami, ooh, look at this, Tsunami. They're not as quick as they were earlier. I think the batteries have gone, but cease is called. So the pit won't really be needed as Tsunami clearly goes through to the Gold Rumble. Fulcrum, they're flipped out the arena and they'll be in the silver because Glass Eye were counted out and immobilized first. And there you have it, the confirmation. Fulcrum into the silver, Glass Eye down to the bronze, and Tsunami flips their way through to the Gold Rumble. So here's how our three Rumbles look. Endgame and Tsunami, they join up into the Gold Rumble against the newcomers Jade Emperor, an international affair that Gold Rumble is going to be. The Silver Rumble follows with Gothic Infrastructure, Rusty and Fulcrum, two new machines against the old-timers. But first up, it's our Bronze Rumble with an all-newcomer affair between Sawblaze, X marks the spot, and Hypnodisc-looking Glass Eye.
Roboteers, stand by.
The Bronze Rumble with Sawblaze, the spinning drop saw. X marks the spot with the front low wedge and the CO2 powered launcher. A very, very unique weapon. I have to say, nothing else we've seen like that on Robot Wars. And Glass Eye with the Hypnodisc style design and the eyeball flywheel. This should be interesting, I have to say.
3, 2,
Looks like it will be interesting.
1.
And, well, the only real damaging weapon could be Glass Eye, as the flywheel could knock out the wheels of both. Well, I was about to say, could knock out the wheels of both X marks the spot and Sawblaze, but X marks the spot's just throwing them out the arena, so much for that. And now Sawblaze attacking X marks the spot. Their flipper is not really getting much action, there. They can't truly get underneath Sawblaze. They're trying, and their designs actually cause them to collide with the collide with the angle grinder, and they just skirted the pit of oblivion there. And now X marks the spot. Finally gets a good flick on Sawblaze. Not enough to do anything to them. Can the blade of Sawblaze? Well, talk about living on the edge. Nearly out the arena there. That was close. And now Sawblaze up and over goes. X marks the spot. And the spinning blade trying to slice through whatever they can on X marks the spot. I don't really think it's all that effective. Hey! And down the pit goes X marks the spot. And Sawblaze progressing through to the Seth All Glory. Well, that would have been an interesting fight to see continue, but that's what's happened here. X marks the spot reversed into the pit. And Sawblaze progressing through. Well done, Sawblaze. And commiserations to X marks the spot based on poor driving. Also commiserations to Glass Eye as they're thrown out of the arena by X marks the spot. Surprise, actually, that didn't happen to Sawblaze against X marks the spot, but hey, that's what happened. Sawblaze, they progress through to the Death or Glory. And now it's time for the Silver Rumble between Gothic Infrastructure, Rusty, and the Seesaw Flipping Arm of Fulcrum.
Robot ears, stand by.
Fulcrum with the front-hinged flipper, Rusty with the giant axe, and Gothic Infrastructure with the lifting obelisk stake spikes.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Fulcrum, well, they're doing better than they did in its earlier fight against Glass Eye and Tsunami, although Fulcrum, well, that's impressive, isn't it? And there was a guy! Well, that's halfway across the floor, and Gothic Infrastructure's out. Look at this! Through the air, and right into our lights! Be careful, Fulcrum, they're expensive, those! Meanwhile, Rusty's up and over, righted, now. But that's a lot of power in the flipping arm of Fulcrum. We never really got to see that. But now we are, and Rusty up and over, self-rights. Can do a lot more than their earlier version back in the first wars, which we never really got to see a whole lot of, let's be real here. Thrown again. And again. That's a very strong arm on Fulcrum, it must be said. I don't think I've ever seen a front hinge flipping arm that powerful. I've seen rear hinge flippers that strong, but not a front hinged. That's impressive. Gothic Infrastructure continually... Well, they're stuck. Rusty, however, they're actually putting up a surprising fight against Rusty, he says, as Rusty gets thrown up and over again. Onto the side. And now, Fulcrum releasing the pit, and roly-poly goes Rusty. However, Fulcrum, with the amount of times they're using their weapon, they will be running low on CO2, and I think it may be lowering now because that flip wasn't as powerful. That one definitely wasn't, but powerful enough to throw them onto the wall, and if they had enough power, they could have thrown Rusty out the arena. That's not what happened, but now you can see there that Fulcrum, I think they are truly out of CO2. They're continuously trying to throw Rusty, but it's not effective, he says, as he makes Rusty roly-poly over once again. But not much is happening. Oh! Gothic Infrastructure's back! Well, how about that? They mentioned they were sort of like Sawblaze as they fooled themselves out of oblivion. That's incredible. We've sort of seen that before with Freewave when they went out the arena and flipped themselves back into the competition. We also saw that with Surfs Up in the last walls when they went into the pit and threw themselves out. That's incredible, though, for Gothic Infrastructure to actually pull themselves back into the arena, to climb over the wall back into the fence as Rusty throws in another axe attack. And, well, whatever happens with the Gothic Infrastructure doesn't really matter because they're out, and so is Rusty! Rusty's in the pit! And is Fulcrum, well, well, now Fulcrum's in the pit with Gothic Infrastructure, who's come out and come in again. Now they're all in the pit. Look, oh no! Gothic Infrastructure, they're back out. Well, quite hectic right in the end, it has to be said. Gothic Infrastructure, they may be the last spot standing in the arena, but they were thrown out of the arena first. They are gone along with Rusty, and it's Fulcrum through to the Death or Glory. And there you have it, the confirmation. Fulcrum through to the Gold Rumble. Gothic Infrastructure falls out of the competition along with Rusty. Great seeing Rusty again. Hope we do get to see them next time around. But it's Fulcrum heading through to the Gold Rumble. Some, based on what happened before in other competitions, may think that's a bit controversial, but that's how it is. Fulcrum, they're through, because Gothic Infrastructure, they did take their time coming back. It took them ages. Anyway, now for the Gold Rumble between Endgame the 7th seeds, newcomers Jade Emperor, and 23rd seed Tsunami.
Robot ears, stand by.
Endgame. Back again with the lethal spinning blade. Jade Emperor, the newcomers with their own spinning blade. And 23rd seed, Tsunami, the German machine, with the CO2 powered flipper.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Honestly, this should be interesting. These two actually fought before Endgame and Tsunami. They fought back in the first wars in the Death or Glory for the Grand Finals. Tsunami came out on top as they're currently flipping Jade Emperor and take serious damage from the blade of Endgame. So, how serious is that, or is it just superficial damage? There! An attack onto Jade Emperor, a combined attack from both Endgame and Tsunami. And something else has come off of Jade Emperor. Tsunami once again flipping them, something else has come off. You can see half the flipper is gone from the face of Tsunami. Endgame staying out of harm's way and thrown up and over now by Tsunami, and that's going to cause problems. And can they self-rate? Well, they've mentioned problems with the self-rating mechanism, and it's not working. They're being counted out. Well, Jade Emperor comes on the attack on Tsunami, and that's it. The 7th seeds have crashed out into the Death or Glory. Their first ever Death or Glory, I should point out. Meanwhile, Tsunami being pressurized by Jade Emperor. A very strong newcomer, I should point out. Something else has come off of Tsunami. I don't think any of the damage, though, is critical. I think it's only superficial damage, apart from that one lip of the wedge. But it's damage that's racking up in Jade Emperor's favor. Tsunami, are they stuck? No, they are fine. I think. They're taking a battering, that's for certain. But they're not giving up. They've not given up taking down Jade Emperor. And something else has come off as they fling themselves over. More damage done to Tsunami. Look at that. Half the flipper is just gone. Jade Emperor, it has to be said, is quite the fighter and could do very well going into this competition. They're holding their own against the 23rd seed! But what's happened here? There's no movement! The wheels are spinning, the lights are on, but nobody's home! As Jade Emperor is counted out and immobilized! And at Tsunami... well, the damage Tsunami took, I would have thought they'd be going home, but no! Tsunami, instead of crashing out into the death or glory, go through to the heat final. That is such a surprise! I thought Jade Emperor would be going through, but they're the ones into the death or glory to join Endgame. And that in itself is a major, major surprise. Well done, Tsunami. I am genuinely surprised at that. Tsunami through to the heat final. Endgame, they crash out to the death or glory along with Jade Emperor. They have said that the self-righting mechanism was always going to be their Achilles heel, and it's proved it here in this fight. So into the death or glory they go, where they have to refight not only Jade Emperor, but they also have to refight Sawblaze, who's fought their way through from the Bronze Rumble, as well as Fulcrum from the Silver Rumble. Will we see Endgame get their way through to the heat final? Or is this as far as they go?
Roboteers, stand by.
Sawblaze from the Bronze Rumble with the spinning blade. Fulcrum from the Silver Rumble with the front-hinged, powerful CO2 flipping arm. And the two surprise packages for me from the Gold Rumble, 7 Seeds Endgame, and the new machine Jade Emperor.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
All the machines in this heat, in my opinion, have been absolutely fantastic. There's an attack from Jade Emperor on the Falcon, who flings themselves into the air, and now Jade Emperor on the attack on Endgame, while Sawblaze brings its weapon down on Fulcrum. So it seems like Jade Emperor and Sawblaze decide to take out the two lethal threats. Those threats being Endgame and Fulcrum. Sawblaze now being attacked by Endgame, and Fulcrum throws Jade Emperor halfway across the floor. That's impressive. That's a very powerful weapon. Something's come off of Fulcrum. I wonder what that was. I'm not sure if it overly matters. Out goes Jade Emperor out the arena, but look at this power here. There, the flick as it throws Jade Emperor across the floor and up and over. That's an impressive weapon. And out goes Sawblaze now. And now it's just Endgame and Fulcrum. However, Sawblaze, they have said that they can come back into this. But look at this here. And here, Sawblaze has actually done it. Impressive. We saw that with Gothic Infrastructure earlier. And now they've gone and done it. Meanwhile, Fulcrum has lost a wheel, and Sawblaze has lost their weapon. Well. Now, the weapon on Endgame seems so much more dangerous. That's 4,500 RPM, don't forget. That's a very powerful blade. And off comes another wheel of Sawblaze. Have come off again. It happened in the first fight against Sawblaze. I mean, against Endgame, sorry. And now, Sawblaze, I don't think is mobile. They're fully immobilized. And now another attack onto Fulcrum, who doesn't have any real control. The floor flipper fires for some reason, I don't know why. But Fulcrum has no real control. The pit's descending, and Endgame now down the down the pit goes Endgame as Fulcrum lies on the pit. Now falls into it as the stream mech actually pulled them in. Well, Fulcrum getting grinded up a bit more by Endgame in the pit. And Fulcrum, well, they're probably going to flung back out. That's brilliant. I have to see, Sue. And I'm being relayed a message here from the judges. Fulcrum had no real control in that fight. They have been deemed immobilized. They're gone. It's endgame. They're back into the fight. They're in the heat final. Talk about a shocking surprise. And there you have a confirmation. Fulcrum out. Endgame through to the heat final could be controversial, but they are the results. This is our heat final. Tsunami from Germany, seeded 23, and Endgame from New Zealand, seeded number 7. They will be tussling it out against each other for a place in the series semi-finals. This should be a very interesting battle indeed.
Roboteers, stand by.
Here we go, the heat final. Tsunami, seed number 23 with the CO2 flipper. Endgame with the spinning blade and powerful drive, seeded number 7. And this is a very, very special heat final because these two machines fought before back in the Death or Glory, the grand finals in the First Wars against Chaos 2 and Yovotono, where Yovotono finished 5th, Chaos 2 finished 4th. Also Tsunami immobilizing Yovotono with a little bit of help from Endgame. And then Chaos 2, after flipping Endgame up and over, got thrown out by Tsunami, who then righted Endgame. And then, with Endgame back, pressurized Tsunami a lot. Their weapon not as devastating as it had been before in the past, but it was still going hard. Despite their smoking, their drive was impeccable. Their drive was powerful. It dominated. But then the flip from Tsunami, that one singular flip, and pushing them against the angle grinder and the Shremek, which had always been their Achilles heel, as we saw in the Gold Rumble of this heat, saw to the end of Endgame as they got counted out and immobilized. And it was Tsunami who went through to face 259 for the Grand Championship title. Has Endgame improved a lot? I'd say yes, and thrown over by Tsunami right from the start. And that's gonna be a problem, because once again, the self-righting mechanism on Endgame causing their downfall. Tsunami trying to, well, mistimed the flip there, but the Germans trying to potentially throw Endgame out the arena. There's the blade, and finally rights themselves, and now can come on the attack on Tsunami. And don't forget, the drive of Endgame is very, very powerful. It caused problems for Tsunami. It's stronger than Tsunami's drive. Is the weapon of Endgame working? It doesn't appear so. Has the weapon taken damage while it was up and over, bouncing up and down on the floor? Because if that's the case, no, there it is, it's spinning around. But is it doing any damage, I wonder? Tsunami's flipper is up, and they're trying to get away from Endgame, but as I said before, Endgame's drive is stronger than Tsunami's. And now, Tsunami, once again, the blade of Endgame, it doesn't really seem to be working. If anything, it seems to be stopping and starting. Well, being stopped for the most part. So I'm wondering if there is a problem with the blade, because if that is the case, then that leaves Tsunami with quite the advantage, as they're the only one with a working weapon. Endgame's blade is not working. It doesn't seem to be working. And now up and over once again and flip and flip on their face. Ah, that's lovely stuff, isn't it? And now Tsunami righting them again. Probably not the smartest thing to do, Tsunami. There's the flip on to Endgame. And then another drive. And up. And beached on their front nose. But I've righted them, and that could come back to haunt Tsunami. But Tsunami, they're quick as well. They're both very quick machines. But I think Tsunami's the only one with a working weapon, and I've once again thrown over Endgame. And Endgame, despite having a Shrimek, it's not working once again. They had problems with that in their earlier fight together with Jade Emperor, and they also had a similar problem with that back in the Death or Glory of the Grand Finals of Series 1, which cost them the chance to face 259 for the championship title. And now, Endgame's weapon seems to be dug inside of Tsunami. Is they gonna do any problems? I don't think so. And now, Tsunami releasing the pit. What have you done? Now Endgame's in the pit. Brilliant. Tsunami releasing the pit release button, and then under no pressure drives into the pit, and then Endgame follows suit. Oh, that's brilliant. And I think the judges are going to call that one for Endgame, who go through to another semi-final. Tsunami once again throws their victory down the pit of oblivion, just like they did in the grand finals of the First Wars, and Endgame gets their vengeance as they progress through to another series semi-final and look a lot more dangerous than before. I'll have to keep an eye out for them. But until then, take care, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.